All right, so now we do basically have to make a decision here. We can not set her free, but not kill her and just kind of sit around and keep her company. We can keep her locked here and talk some more. We can go and get the sword and stab her. We can go and get the sword without saying anything. We can immediately try to free her. No, the narrator won't let us bounce.
Examine the chains, I guess.
Which one of those?
Oh, bottom one.
I can't believe this, or okay.
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you, and you won't. I promise.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Okay, here's where we unlock the immersive
Whoever locked the princess
first-person
away down here intended
open world
for her to
role-playing
never
game where you have to find the key, right?
They wouldn't have just left.
Yeah, it just turns into
chains
Daggerfall.
somewhere in the cabin.
As you went up the stairs, you ended up in a shipwreck.
How much do you value your right arm?
Does she have any other ideas? Sure.
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
Yeah.
How much does she value her right arm?
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Uh-oh.
Is someone else here?
We want to yell, try the door, or return to the stair or to the bottom of the stairs.
I mean, I feel like this is a false choice.
It kind of is a false choice. Let's yell.
Shouts and pleas are met with silence. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade.
So as a subjective read, Josh, as a player,
easier for who?
In kind of this situation, how much would you say you feel engrossed in the stakes of what's happening?
So, I mean,
of course, taking on board
we've
the fact
seen
that this
how
is
this
not
plays
the most...
out before, so like very clearly there's something going on here that's railroading these, this particular encounter. We've tugged at that before. So it's more like, well, what the hell is really going on with the princess being locked here and the narrator pushing us constantly towards killing her?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her.
All right, let's go!
Her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade.
Oh, hey,
upstairs.
they threw the
Not sure how
knife
it made its way
down.
down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that.
What if I don't like what's happening now, narrator?
Oh, huh. We don't even have a slay the princess option here.
Nope. We don't have enough. We don't have enough renegade points.
Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted.
Here, let me help you with that.
Princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place.
Couldn't we have done this on the wrist? I feel like that would have been.
The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of
It's a little late for that, Chris.
If I was still in high school, I feel like I would see that I've seen that panel of like you slicing through the arm as like a sticker on a classmate's notebook, like a homemade sticker.
She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze
It's like
meets
Mega Tokyo
yours,
Guro.
blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground.
Mega Tokyo Guro is definitely going to be the name of my next horrible garage band from
It's a death metal
2009.
Yeah.
How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
The worst person you knew in high school
Now let's
as
get
a
out of
millennial was in a band called Mega Tokyo Guro.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As
But
the
it's what my
princess
character
approaches
would
the
do.
bottom stair, your body steps forward and
Oh
raises
no,
the blade.
we're turning into a scaly.
Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just
No,
do
we've
that.
we've been that.
Oh yeah.
Watch me.
I didn't actually know that was persistent.
What are you doing?
There is one
Well,
option
I guess,
here that's
yeah.
not slay the princess.
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do
Well, that
this,
remains to be
right?
seen, doesn't it?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it. Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive.
And again, we have one option here that's not slay the princess.
Do we want to resist?
Well, we were going to try to see what would happen if we just refused to kill her.
All right, let's do it. Resist.
The blade. Move the blade. As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into
I
your
like
chest
it when the narrators are
again
just like,
and again
whatever.
And again, you
Just
feel
fuck it.
every inch of burning
It don't matter.
death
None of this
its
matters.
way into your body.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife.
Oh, this is going well.
Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark. And you die.
Yay, we didn't ruin it this
You're on
time.
a path in the woods. And at
I
the
mean, we
end
are
of that
back to
path
the beginning again.
There's a cabin.
You have to refresh my memory.
And
The
in the
chapter
basement of
thing.
that cabin
Is that new
is
or
a
is that happening last week
princess.
too?
That was happening
No.
last time.
We got to the
Yeah,
proper
just
game
so you
over that nuked everything,
If
right?
you don't, it will
Yeah,
be the end of
twice
the
I think
world.
actually.
All right. So what we're going to be doing here is being We're not like we've already tried being kind of like blunt and effective. What we're going to try to do here is be as unhelpful as possible. And unhelpful from like a narrative perspective. We're going to try to inform what's going on as infrequently as possible, and just kind of react to everything like we're a spectator.
So something I'm pretty sure we didn't do last time is go into the like, hey, wait, this just happened questions here.
Yeah, I don't know if this is just me, and I'm sure I'm missing something important by not doing that, but something about that just feels so exhaustingly futile.
I would suggest that we do it at least once because it does reveal some information that was not
Okay,
clear.
let's
in our
absolutely
initial
do it.
playthrough.
That doesn't necessarily
So-
change what I said about it feeling exhaustingly futile, but let's do it.
Which one of these do we want to go with?
Hasn't this already happened? I guess.
It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved...
Yay, it's
this is a new
Matt
guy.
Berry.
Picky about it. Our beloved? Yes, you'll have to be very...
We'll take the
sneaky
princess
about it
to New
if
York
we're going to
City.
try and Save the princess.
Yes.
Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling
That's a pretty
any
good.
and all
I think that is a
assassination
pretty
attempts
workmanlike
you've
Matt
got in
Berry
the
right there.
works.
I approve of it.
We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. It sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek. What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving. Those are two very different questions.
I mean, basically,
but
like
fine,
that.
I'll indulge you
Fair
if
enough.
that's
That
what
was
it takes
pretty
to
much
get you
directly
married.
what I was asking last week.
Yeah.
Say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me.
Which, I mean, at this point, I think we already have an answer to that. I think
If you're
that
back
the game has very
and
much
soon
presented a
you die,
reason,
it
narratively,
only
with like within its own
happened
logic
because you
to
listen.
continue.
You were the one who did us in, villain. Well, not you in the literal sense, but you did everything you could to stop us from rescuing her. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the entire
If we're
world
taking
is
what we heard last time at face value, we have a pretty direct and straightforward, like, actionable goal here, more than you would think from the way this kind of thing is structured. Certainly more than in a game like the Stanley Parable.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a deep breath and assume that whoever is making the decisions here has the common sense to ignore your protestations. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions...
Yeah, which,
last
like the
time
narrator's
don't
saying here,
have
like,
any consequences.
it's untrue. There are consequences. That this
What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced
there is
the
kind of an
princess to kill us,
aggregate
and now everyone's
result
right
that is
back
being
where they
worked toward.
started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me.
Yeah.
Just trying to collect them
Yes,
voices.
but in this
Well,
purely
but the narrator also
That
seems
begs
to
the
not
question
be
of
aware of the
how
fact
far
that we
back
just got
did
transported
time
back to the
simply
beginning of the
rewind
game.
itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died?
So like this is not the
Do you think
same
the people
guy
there
we
lived
were just
happily ever after? Or do you
that
think
was
the
just trying to get us to
princess
stab
left
the
unended
princess the first
brought
time.
about the end to
I think that
everyone,
this is very
even
smart
you,
writing
just
here.
like I told you.
And you know, you're absolutely
She
right
would
for
never.
wanting to pick these options
She's a
because
perfect angel.
if
but
you have someone who's
truly
more
imprisoned
kind
as
of
part
aligned with
some
my way of approaching this project,
convoluted
this kind, like spelling this kind of thing out so that it's like really obvious, does
convoluted.
help make this feel
I
more
don't know how this premise
directed
could be
and
any more
grounded than
simple.
kind of just like
Princess bad, stop
a
her,
narrative
save
experiment.
Let's
Just be
talk
quick
about this
about it.
princess.
She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. Maybe it's her beauty that threatens the world. Sure, it's her beauty. Why not? And before you ask, no, we can't just keep her down there. If you don't slay her,
That is
she's
one
going
thing
to
that we
find a way
haven't
out.
necessarily
It's
emphasized
unfortunate,
sufficiently.
no, but it's just the way
I
it
mean, like,
is.
there's not really a point in necessarily focusing in on it, but
Looked her in
just
the
raise the
eyes.
question, like,
I
she
told you
chewed
what
her
this
arm
place
off
is. It's a path
pretty
in the
good.
woods.
It feels like she was
Yeah.
she was onto something with that. Like, we obviously stepped in and helped with the knife, but
Look,
it
not
sort of
supposed
speaks
to
to
say
there
this,
being more
but
going on than that,
it's
for
because-
sure.
Yeah, like why is she just hanging out until we get
you're
there
the
if she could
only
just do that
person
herself?
capable of doing this.
Yeah, like, you're contributing
All
more
of
than
her
material
prophecy
conditions to resolve
helps.
this.
But it's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? Calling us special isn't going to make us friends, even if it did feel nice. Oh, believe me, the last thing I want is for you and I to be friends. But I'm a professional, and I'm not going to let
A professional what?
for you get in the way of helping you save
Narrator.
the world. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation.
Dude, this is like our
Your
sixth
job-
time in this conversation. You might as well spill the beans
Not
at
to
this
sound like
point.
a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but you're just going to have to take me at my word.
The sentence, I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but
Now, if you
okay,
don't mind,
so
the
that's
whole
flickering
world
that's
is
happening.
waiting with
That's
bated
not just like a
breath for you to
Discord
save it
artifact or
from
something,
ruin.
right? That's like a thing.
What?
Oh, is it a Discord artifact? I genuinely don't know.
What, are we talking about, like, the flickering of the...
No, like when you choose the
The
option,
lines,
sometimes
or-
it seems like something flashes on the right side of the screen, but it could just be
Oh,
the
I don't
stream
know. That might just be the stream, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
quality. Okay, it was all stuff I was seeing out the corner of my eye anyway, so yeah, that tracks.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the
All right.
only thing in the world.
Dishwater
we can
neutral.
believe in.
Let's go.
I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the
Isn't
sound of his own voice.
Dishwater, like, alkaline?
I do,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
also speak from the heart.
Because it's got
My
dish soap in it,
passions are too
presumably.
great to be stifled.
Okay.
They must be
Let's be
expressed.
appallingly, infuriatingly
Sure,
neutral.
yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet. Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead. The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant. Its stone
Ooh.
walls
Oh, no.
draped in fine threaded
Gothic.
tapestries.
Mirror's back.
A prison befitting a
The mirror is
royal
back.
prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Want to take a look at the mirror?
Yeah, let's approach the mirror.
He's just gonna insist
Walk
it's
up to
not
the
there
wall
again.
next to the basement door. It's a wall.
Yeah.
There isn't much to see here. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's pretty much the same thing.
It's a mirror.
Okay,
Well,
I
it
didn't.
must
I
still
to
be
be honest, my
there once we
recollection of
wipe
the
off
last
that
time
layer of
this
grime.
was as in 100% clear. So let's.
You reach
Yep.
forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place.
What do you mean a feather out of place?
What kind of creature are we exactly?
Yeah.
I don't.
Wait,
wanna,
are
like,
we a
collapse-
dinosaur?
I don't want to collapse the performance of the smitten voice into this is someone doing a Matt Berry impression, because that seems uncharitable and like maybe
Very different.
represents my limited viewpoint,
Is
but
it?
it does
can't
seem
say
a
I
lot
was
like
very
a
much
Matt Berry
attempting to
impression,
see
and a
it.
very
Really
good one.
does.
Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that.
Like, I understand that it's not. If I accuse it of being a Matt Berry impression, it's not in any way
killed
an
by the
insult.
princess. So focus.
It's an
up.
appropriate
Stop
creative
letting
choice.
yourself Get distracted.
So should we take the blade this time, or go into the basement without it again?
I would say enter the basement without the blade, just like because that seems to be the appropriate level of disengagement for what I'd like to try.
All right.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned.
This does
along
seem
the
more
walls.
romantic,
The
certainly,
basement
than the
almost seems
last one, which I
welcoming
think
in the dim
tracks
firelight.
pretty well. This is kind of
Yeah, there's
this has got a
sconces.
this has a Disney castle vibe to
But it's
it.
still a stone basement.
Yes.
If the princess lives here, slaying. her
I
is probably
don't
in
mean
her
that as
favor.
like kind of an
A soft
offhanded. I think
voice
that this
carries up the
literally
stairs.
is drawn from kind of the same fairy tale
Hello? Is someone
iconography
there?
it has
Yes.
like kind of created the
Somehow
visual language
even
of
more
Disney films
beautiful than
in the
last
Golden
time.
Age.
I can hear wedding bells already. I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know.
I like how like the first
can still
other
do
voice
right
we
by
got,
her
the
without
hero was
this
100% on the same
over-the-top
page,
fawning.
but the smitten guy, the hero is just like, come on, dude, what the fuck?
Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall.